Hello again, my friends. Well, it's June, which means that down here in the southern hemisphere we're heavily into winter. And this week's classic actually, because it's been snowing really heavily throughout the South Island. -4 degrees in Christchurch last night. But here we are enjoying quite a nice day today. Cold, but fine. It's lovely. June for me always seems to be a star month. For one thing, we have just, some of our people have been able to witness the transit of Venus across our skies. Amazing, isn't it? And in a couple of weeks' time we'll be celebrating the wonderful feast of Matariki, the little eyes of God watching us. It heralds in the Maori New Year. That's absolutely wonderful. And it leads me to think about, to ponder about really, the whole sense of being part of our cosmos. There's a lovely little story told of a little girl and her mother coming home and being caught in a terrible storm. And not only was it raining heavily, but there was lightning flashing and thunder was sounding. The mother rushed inside, but the little girl wouldn't go in, and kept standing, looking into the flashes of lightning, and smiling and smiling. And eventually, when her mother got her inside, she said, "What were you doing, standing in the lightning and smiling like that?" And she said, quite simply, "Well, God was taking my picture, and I wanted to make sure I looked pretty." It's a gorgeous story, isn't it? And of course, the wee girl was totally unafraid. Unafraid of the elements, yes, but also unafraid of God. And isn't that lovely? We who are adults tend to be afraid of God, and that is so sad. Count myself among them too at times. That is so sad because our entire message from our God is that He's a God of love. Christ's very death on the cross, for me, individually, for you, as well as for our whole world, is absolutely overwhelming and speaks only of love. I ask myself then, what can I do to deal with my fear of God? How can I be afraid of a God who is pure love, whose love continues to hit the cosmic fan? As Father Gittins tells us, that God's love is thick spread over our universe. Even the stars that I've just mentioned, Venus passing our world, the Pleiades, the Seven Sisters, coming up in a couple of weeks, and all the wonders of our cosmos, all speak of God's love. So, to repeat my question, what can I do about my fear? I don't know, frankly. I try to keep in mind that God is love. I try to read passages from Scripture which reinforce that. I look at the beauty of our world and see in that a God of love. Above all, I think I try to develop, if you like, an attitude of gratitude. Developing an attitude of gratitude, I find, gives me hope. Because hope, my friends, is not a stance of Pollyanna, that things will always be okay. No, things are not always okay. Things are terrible at times. And terrible things happen to good people as well as bad. But an attitude of gratitude does bring hope. And hope is a theological virtue. It's a virtue that enables me to see that no matter what, even if I were to die, God is still good and God is still love. And of course, prayer does help. But we all know, don't we, that when things are really grim in our lives, prayer is the last thing that comes easily. So, there we have it. A delightful story, a little girl, unafraid in the face of having her picture taken by a God of love. It does no harm at all for us to go back to the child in us and try to be as simple and as uncomplicated as we can, and remember that everything that happens for us, out of that good can come if we remain hopeful and develop an attitude of gratitude, because God is love. Goodbye. We'll talk again soon.